Hello and welcome back. If you're new to my channel, I'm Deirdre, and today I'm talking about something I'm an expert in. No, not the downsizing, moving to the next stage, phase, transition thing. This one's a beauty. This one's called procrastination. And yes, I am an expert in procrastination. Yep, highly skilled. Last few weeks I've been really polishing my ability to procrastinate. I've got a stack of things that I need to do, want to do, and I haven't been doing them. Why? Well, that's what I'm going to talk about, because I think we're all the same. So what is procrastination? Well, I think really it comes down to a lack of motivation combined with poor time management. So that motivation part of it is huge, because if you're motivated, you can manage your time. And the thing that people think about motivation is that you either have it or you don't have it, and the ones who have it are lucky, the ones who don't, well, we know where they end up. So I want to talk about the fact that it's not actually something you have or don't have. It's something you build. It's a muscle. It's a habit. And I say a muscle because it's something that the more you do, the stronger it gets. And it's all very well to say that though, but you need to get to that point where you know you want to be motivated. This is the core of step one. You need to know your why. And I know this is so basic and you're probably going, oh, I already know this. But how many of us do it? How many of us actually, and I'm to blame here, I'm very much the same here. How many of us actually sit down when we know we're avoiding doing something, procrastinating, not motivated to do it, and look at it and think, well, A, does it actually have to be done? That's of course always the first question that you should ask. Does this actually have to be done? Now, if it's not something you should be doing, then stop worrying about it. If the reason you're procrastinating is it's not your business or it's not on your aisle, that's a flight attendant thing, not my aisle, because you can't go up and down other people's aisles on the planes, there's no room. So not your aisle, then give the pleasure of it to somebody else. But if it is your business, if it is something you really need to do, or you know in your heart it's your business, then you've got to connect with your why. Now, the why can be huge or it can be really small, but the bottom line is you've got to put some emotion, connection of your emotion into the why. You've got to really attach something that is valuable to you to your why. Now, this works for everything, whether it's some major project that you simply have to get done for your business or for your, that's part of your employment, or if it's as simple as, oh God, I've left the kitchen to get into a pigsty state and I'm putting off going and cleaning it up. The bench is covered with things, it's a mess. And that happens to everyone, I think, bigger or smaller, levels of it, but I think there are days when that happens to anyone. So the whole point of making it about your why is it attaching it to some emotion that you have. Like, would you like to feel less stressed? Is this adding stress to your life, having this in there? So the why, for example, with the big one, with the major project that you have to get into, it may be that you're going to lose your income if you don't do this. The why can be really basic. Why? A, I'm going to go broke if I don't do this, if it's your business, and if it's something you're employed to do, well, you're going to get fired if you don't do this. So it's a pretty big one. Complete loss of income is a big one. If it's something like the kitchen being a mess, does it stress you out? If it's something that bothers you, is it taking up your energy being stressed about not doing it? In which case, you've got to say to yourself, hey, why would I want to do this? So I can enjoy it being done and clean and know that I don't have to look at it again. So these are really important things. Connect to something emotional that is going to give this action some meaning for you on a deeper level, your reason for doing it, your why. Then comes step two. Now, this one isn't talked about enough, but I think it's the biggie in some ways. Well, all right, so I just said that the why was biggie. They're all big. Okay, this one is called reduce the friction. Now, the friction is all of the things that come between you and the thing you want to get started doing. So for me, the friction in, say, doing a video falls into all sorts of different things. Maybe it's too hot, and the friction is that I know I'll be uncomfortable and I'll sit here and drip and feel not focused and all of those things. The second one might be that we've got really poor lighting or something. If it's a very overcast day and then I'll have to set up the lights, it's another step I have to do. Third one, I have to actually make myself look presentable as opposed to completely scruffy. Please note, I did have to trim my fringe. There you go, because I've been procrastinating on that haircut thing. Okay, those are the sorts of things. So how do you overcome friction? All those little things that get in the way of you getting started and keeping motivated and getting this project or whatever task underway. Well, you need a plan. I know it's really, once again, stating the obvious, but how many of us do it? It's the old thing that what is common sense is rarely common practice. So if it's a big project, then obviously you'll have a project plan, you'll have broken that down into tasks, and within those tasks, the little steps that you need to do to actually complete each section of the project. But if it's something, and we'll use this as an example because it's so ordinary, as getting your kitchen cleaned up, then you need to start with how would you actually go about it? What are the points of friction? Well, okay, say we'll take the worst case scenario and you've got a broken dishwasher, or you don't have a dishwasher, or you run out of dishwasher tablets or something, okay, to clean this. And you've got dishes on both sides of the counter of the sink, and the sink's got dirty dishes inside it and they're piled up around you. Let's just imagine the worst case scenario. How do you deal with that? So first step, clear it just onto the floor if you have to, or into a plastic tub or something like that. The next step is to fill up the sink. The third step is to wipe everything down so that it's clean and ready to go. The fourth step, these are tiny steps. The fourth step is to put all the glassware into that hot soapy sink. You look at everything you've got, you pick out all the glassware, put it in there, because you always wash glassware first. And that gets you started. And honestly, that's probably enough to get you started. It's just steps repeated. And before you know it, you will have done it in tiny steps with tiny steps. You will go little step, do it, finish it, repeat it off with the next session. That's how you get them done. And then at the end, you look and you go, wow, I got that done. I actually achieved. Now, I don't care if it's something as simple as cleaning up your kitchen or as difficult as approaching a $200 million project. I don't care. The process is the same. Baby steps, okay? Baby steps, baby steps, baby steps. But you must have the plan in place first. Now, about this time in conversation, what usually comes up is, oh, I would love to do that, but I'm a perfectionist. Did I hear it? Did I hear it? Because if there's one word I have killed from my vocabulary about myself, is perfectionist. Because quite frankly, better than yesterday is what I aim for. Better than yesterday. Better than this morning. I don't mind. Better than, not perfection. Because if you know what perfection is, well, I don't. I don't think anyone really does. It's like a logical reason that our minds trick us into not getting ourselves into gear and doing things. What does it mean? I'm actually doing nothing because I can't do it perfectly? Oh, that's fantastic. Great choice. Yeah, at this point you will have left the program. I know that. I'm sorry. I don't want to offend anyone, but I do want to just get you to get it out of your vocabs about yourself and say, look, I'm better than I was yesterday, and I'm better than I was the month before, and I'm a hell of a lot better than I was the year before that. Look, that's all we can ask for, is the wonderful opportunity to get better at things as we go along in our lives. And if we get that opportunity, it's fantastic. If you've done something and you can find a fault with it, you don't scrap the whole thing, because you're going to just repeat, and who knows, you'll make a different mistake this time around. I think it was when the Amish women made a quilt, they would deliberately make one mistake. One of the patches would have a mistake on it, a deliberate mistake. I think it was called the humility square, because only God can achieve perfection. And whatever you believe religiously, we all need to take a step back and realize Don't make a deliberate mistake necessarily, but I like the concept of accepting that we can't achieve perfection. Step 3, this is where you get to take action. The first thing you do for taking action, you've got your why, you're going to reduce the friction, you've worked thinking about the things that get in your way. Now the next step, you plan your action. A lot of people will do this for the week on perhaps a Sunday evening, but quite frankly, I don't care when you do it. You can do it in the morning, over your coffee, whatever, but you plan your 3 next important tasks, or the things that you need to get out of the way so that you can do those 3 important tasks. But whichever way you want to look at it, the 3 things that you need to do first up before you do anything else. And you write them down, and then you visualize doing them. How are you going to do them? What are you going to involve? You don't have to shut your eyes. I would shut my eyes. I get really distracted. So visualize doing it. Which one will you do first? What will it look like? Think about the things that might be causing friction in it and slowing it down or preventing you from doing it. How are you going to handle that? Think it through. Think about, what if it all goes pear-shaped? Think about that too. What would you do? Don't just go, oh no, I'll give up, shall I? No, you don't give up. You just think of the answer. You think about, okay, that's happened. How am I going to fix it? How am I going to go around it? How am I going to improve on it? And you work through your whole process. You don't just visualize crossing the line, yay, I've got to the first stop, I won the race. When people get athletes to visualize, they get them to feel. What do they feel like before they actually get down on those starter blocks? What does it feel like? What will your feet feel like? How will you kneel? What's your process? What are you going to do as soon as that gun goes? Feel the gun going. Feel yourself exploding out of the blocks. That's what a good coach gets you to do. What will you do if you fall, if you get pushed, if you get boxed in? What's your process for doing this? Can you come back from this? All of those things you go through in your mind. The last thing you visualize is crossing the line first. Nothing wrong with that. Feel the joy, it's good. And for each of your tasks, just quickly run through a visual in your mind of what you are going to actually be doing with these 3 better than before, better than yesterday type of tasks that you're going to do. And then you know what you're going to do? You're going to do them. You're going to start with the first one, you're going to get through it, you're going to finish it. Okay, I don't care if they're really tiny tasks. In fact, they have to be really small. But you get it done. Finished, done, completed. Next task. Finished, done, completed. Okay? Next one. Finished, done, completed. Now, depending on how long you've got and how long each of these are taking, maybe at the end of the first one you give yourself a coffee break. Maybe at the end of the second one you get up and you have a walk in whatever you're doing and you walk around a bit, give yourself a mental break, go outside, breathe some fresh air. Whatever it is that is going to be a good break, only 5 minutes, that's all, and then you get back into the next one and you do the same. Remember, these are small tasks. These are not, oh, I'm going to finish writing a chapter of my book. These are not big tasks. These are the little ones. I'm going to write the first paragraph. I'm going to fact check something. I'm going to write the second paragraph. They can be your 3 things. So all of these things then get done. You've completed 3 things that are crossed off. You get the pleasure of crossing them off. And then have a break. Have a half an hour break. Have some lunch, whatever you want to do. Take a decent break. And it is always good to get completely away from what you're doing at that time. Maybe you go for a walk, listen to a podcast, do something, anything like that. And then you come back, and if you've got time, if your day is still yours, if you still have some space for working on these major projects, you work out the next 3 things. And maybe you'll get 1 done, maybe you'll get 2, maybe you get all 3 of those done. It will depend on what your day is, what the tasks are. But then you're finished. You'll have done either 4 or 5 or 6 of your tasks towards your main goal. I know, it isn't just that I believe, I know, and it's proven that people who can check off things are happier than people who don't let themselves get that feeling of accomplishment and are always looking at, oh, the big picture is this or the big picture is that. No, look at the small picture. Take your little wins, take those great moments, make them great. Be happy for yourself. I once knew a family, it's a long time ago, and they invested a lot of money. This is the Sydney property market, and it was a nice area, and it was an enormous house. They put a lot of money down on their purchase of this beautiful home. And after they had bought it, they discovered that it was basically being held together by the cement around it. It had been eaten by termites from the inside out. And really, they just didn't have a choice. They either just said goodbye to a couple of $1 million, not an easy thing to do, or they could rectify the situation. So, of course, they chose the second option. They made a plan that consisted of step-by-step items, thousands of them, and they set about crossing them off. They'd print it out and they'd cross them off. And if it grew, well, they'd print out a new one and cross out all the ones they'd done. And they crossed off all of these thousands of tasks that they had to do to make their home rectified and rebuilt. But it was beautiful. They made a beautiful job. It was an elegant, beautiful home when they finished. And they had crossed off all of these tasks. And at the end of it, they threw themselves a big party in their beautiful home because they'd done it. Now, there aren't many of us who wouldn't have looked at that task and gone, oh my God, it's just too hard. I want to just sit and cry for the next 2 years. It would have been easy to do. But they didn't. They just made a task, made that list, and they were running their own business at the same time. They made that list and they got themselves organised, and they started from the most important thing to be done first. And whatever it took about 2 years. Whatever they needed to do next, that was the thing they focused on. And they would get it done, and then they would get the pleasure of crossing it off. So there we are. That's my take on this whole procrastination thing and the sorts of things that work for me when I can't get myself motivated and I'm procrastinating. It's no magic, it's common sense, just not common practice. So my friends, that's it for today, and I hope that I shared something that is of value to you and that you would like to join me and subscribe and give me a thumbs up. And I'm sure by saying that perfectionist thing, somebody's going to get cross with me about that, but it's for real. I'm sorry, no room for perfectionism in my space and hopefully not in yours. It's a real block to success. With that, I will go off and get into some of the projects that I have to do and get a couple of the baby steps crossed off and out of the way. The first one being, obviously, to edit this video. I will see you soon and look forward to April. Got some fun things coming up in April. We're going back to the downsizing. It's like Back to the Future, only back to the downsizing, but it is all about the future. No, don't worry, not leaving my fabulous apartment. Not a chance. This is my home, this is where I live, but it's time for some little changes. I will talk to you soon. Bye.